Balance isn't about having it all together. It's about giving yourself grace. Hey friend, you're listening to Balancing the Scales, the podcast where we dive into real life, real talk, and real moments. I'm Tammy, wife, millennial mama of 2, and your new audio bestie. This is the space where we can talk about juggling the beautiful chaos of life, from friendships to relationships to having conversations about parenting and love and marriage to even some pop culture tea and everything in between that may cause the scales to tip sometimes. Because let's be honest, the juggle is real and you are not alone. So wherever you're listening from, grab your tea, your coffee, or your wine. I've got my cup too. It's time to turn the mic on and let's get into today's episode. Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. Thank you so much so far for listening, for downloading my first week that officially launched last week. So excited, so nerve-wracking. But thank you for sticking around and being with me on this journey. So we're going to start things off with, of course, our scale check. Which way are the scales tipping this week? So this week for me, with the launch of the podcast, so the scales are tipping pretty well for me in my favor. Excited for that, and just so eternally grateful for the support that I got so far. It's greatly appreciated, so I want to just say thank you once again. But besides that, it's been a pretty busy week. I would say a pretty busy couple of weeks, and going into now, we're about to wrap up October. So it's been a pretty busy month so far, more so on the weekends. Halloween is coming up this weekend on Friday, and I just feel like Halloween is different for me, one, as a mom, but two, just within the past recent years. I remember for myself as a kid and growing up with my siblings, my cousins, and my friends, we would just have like one day to trick or treat around the neighborhood, like dress up for school if that was allowed. And then after school, my parents would either take us to the mall, the local mall, or we would also trick or treat around our neighborhood, and the neighbors would leave a bowl of candy out on the porch or whatever, and we'll grab our candy, go home for the rest of the night. My parents would check it out, and we're done. Now, becoming a parent for the past 5 years with my son, I just feel like there's an event or something to do every weekend, and not just one day. It's like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then sprinkle in something during the week. So far, last week, we already had 2 events in one day. And of course, I took my kids to both of them. This upcoming week, we have, I think, 3 events in 1 week, one on a weekday, and then we have something on Saturday and Sunday. We had another event happening as well, and then there's one last one. We're ending it in November. The Saturday after Halloween is another trunk or treat. And these things aren't just like trick or treating or they go to houses or whatever. It's like at a location, and it's like trunk or treat just exploded. Everyone's decorating their cars, their trunks. Cute. Love it. Might do it one year. I don't know. And then, it's like an experience for the kids. I love that for them. My son is fully immersed into it, and he gets so excited. And then just seeing the enjoyment through his eyes, it's great. My daughter, she's only like 9 months old. She doesn't know what's going on. She's just along for the ride. But she gets excited too. I guess the music, the atmosphere, makes her giddy and going. But it's just exhausting for me as the parent, just getting the kids ready and putting on their costumes and going to these things and just, wrangling everybody along. But to even bring it back is first discovering or finding our costume and our themes for the year. So my son is now 5. We've come to the age where he is a little bit more independent and he has a little bit more say, right? I'm giving him options, exploring all of that, testing the boundaries. But with that comes the rebuttals, the back and forth, the discussions of what we're going to be this year. And his idea didn't go into ties with my idea, and we're just going back and forth. And then it was just one day I was out in Target strolling, and I just found a costume in his size, and I was like, well, this is it, buddy. This is what we're going to do. And I based our family costume around his one costume. So now I'm sitting here, I'm trying to find something in my daughter's size. And of course, it's infant sizes, so not everything is available. And, trying to do things here and there, and process of elimination. And now I have to find an outfit for me and my husband to go along with the kids. That one's for the family trunk or treat. That's during the week after school. Then we have like 2 other trunk or treats happening. One at like a local coffee shop, one at like our local mall. There's one at like a baseball field that we're gonna go to. And yeah, it's been a pretty busy week. It's going to be another busy week and another busy month. And on top of that too, he had like little events at school, one of them being a mom fail on my part, because I'm just tired, I'm exhausted. And by the time I read this email from his school, I was like half asleep, and I got the date wrong. I still don't know what date it is, but in my defense though, she wrote the date for Halloween 10/31, but she wrote this Friday, so it was both of us. But it's okay, it's all fixed. But I sent my son to school in one of his Halloween costumes, and then when I did drop off, I realized no one else was in like a Halloween costume. And I'm like, oh my God, did I mix up the date? And I'm reading the message again as I'm like driving off, and I'm like, oh, I got the date mixed up. So my son's in his costume in school. So I quickly messaged his teacher like, hey, he has a change of outfits that he's wearing underneath this onesie, and he also has his, change of clothes in his backpack. If he could just change out of it, it's fine, so he doesn't like feel awkward. She's like, yeah, sure, no worries. I'll have him change. But it's just like, I can't keep track of everything. And I guess this is the season of life that I'm in at the moment. But I'm looking into, I have calendars everywhere. We have our family calendar in our kitchen. Of course, I use everything on my phone. I have a calendar at my desk for work. I have planners. So I do have multiple calendars and planners. And I'm usually like an organized type A person. That's just me naturally. But I guess lack of sleep and just trying to figure out a schedule. Now recording this podcast too, I'm trying to find time to squeeze in to record and edit. I don't know, just fell through the cracks. It is life. It's going to happen. But yeah, our scales have been pretty back and forth this week, but in a good way. Everything, the good or bad, it's a blessing at the end of the day. It's a blessing, not complaining. I know it's a blessing to even have the opportunity to enjoy these moments with my kids while they're still so little. I'm taking everything in because I know this only lasts for so long for both of them, where they agree to dress up with whatever mom wants, to even want to hang out with me and go out in public with me and dad to go trick-or-treating and all that stuff. Even though my kids don't eat candy, I have a sweet tooth. That's just mostly me. I'm the soda drinker in the house. I eat candy. I know it's bad. Don't judge me. But I don't want that to stem off onto my children. So they don't really eat candy unless if it's like a birthday party, or in this case for Halloween, he'll like get one piece the day of Halloween. And then after that, I put everything in a Ziploc bag. I hide it, out of sight, out of mind. He doesn't even ask for it. But it's a blessing to even celebrate and make these holiday memories with my kids. So we're officially in the Burr months, October, November, December. We are right there, and I feel like I'm behind, but we just started with the holidays. Halloween, I'm already looking in the stores, seeing Christmas decorations out, and I just feel so rushed. And now I'm thinking about it, this might be another topic in the episode. Not this episode, in a future episode, of just feeling rushed with everything with social media, of a timeline. And it's like, you're not on anyone's timeline but your own. But anyway, yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, a great rest of your month, the last few days of October. and let's get into today's episode. Today, I would like to discuss marriage after babies and how intimacy, connection with your partner, and roles shift after children. Because that's something that actually hits deep once you become a parent, and it's about one of the relationship changes that happens, which is marriage after babies. How does it look like? What the conversations are like now, how intimacy shifts, how the connection looks different, and how those teamwork roles start to change in ways you never really see coming. Because let's be honest, which we are here at this podcast, love after kids isn't the same as love before kids. It's deeper, a whole lot messier. There could be some quiet moments, but it's also real in a way that tests you and your partner and that grows you guys together as well as individually. So if you found yourself missing your old rhythm as a couple or wondering what happened to us, keep listening because this episode is for you. I just want to start off by saying that I love being a mom. I love my babies, and that becoming a mom has been one of my greatest accomplishments. But we're going to take it back to the beginning. Before the baby era, before the parenting era, before the diaper bags and the washing of the bottles, the spit up on clothes, the mountain of laundry, my goodness, the laundry, and packing those snack pouches because everyone wants a snack. Everyone is always hungry. And those dreaded midnight or 2 a.m. wake ups. We're going all the way back to like the puppy love days. It was just you and your person. It was just me and Vlad. Just vibes, our spontaneous date nights. Sleeping in. Oh man, I miss sleeping in. Definitely like taking weekend trips or spontaneous dinners, meeting up without a plan and without a schedule or checking the time to making sure that we're back on time. Just the time was endless for us. Even those small things like running errands together, quick trips to Target, just felt really cute, and holding hands down the aisles. Those were the moments that we cherished, and those small moments meant a lot. Then, puppy love turned into real love, turned into marriage, turned into living together, and then boom, the baby arrives. And suddenly our whole world has spun upside down, and our world is spinning on a whole new axis. Our schedule changed, our priorities shift, our conversations started to revolve around nap times and diaper changes and bottle sizes and nipple sizes for the bottles. It was a beautiful moment. It was a beautiful season, but it was a lot. I remember after having Vega, those really long nights, the 2 a.m., 3 a.m. feedings, rocking a baby back to sleep, and just thinking to myself like, wow, just a year or two ago, my 2 a.m.s looked different. I was on the phone with my man, pillow talking, and just seeing who's going to fall asleep first, or just sleeping on the phone on my pillow, and quickly how that has changed to now becoming a mom and feeling exhausted and actually wanting to go to sleep. But of course, the baby wouldn't let me until he was burped or changed or what have you, being up for a couple hours. And it was just about showing up at that time. We were both showing up. We were both doing everything we could for this little person that we both created. But the thing is, at the same time, we weren't really seeing each other anymore. We were just missing each other. We were on different schedules, and at times, it did feel like a roommate type of situation rather than a marriage. When we first had our first baby, we were also newlyweds. Our son was born a week before our 1-year wedding anniversary. So we were newlyweds, new parents, having to figure out how to navigate a new marriage while also trying to figure out how to navigate parenthood, and coming from two different families, how he was going to be a dad and how I was going to be a mom for this one little person that we created together. And it wasn't that it was tension, it was just that there was this invisible shift where we went from partners to being parents first. and showing up, that nothing else mattered but caring for this little person that we created out of love. As I said before, we were just on different schedules. And then I caught myself at times just expressing to him, like, I missed you. I just missed being around you. I missed him. I missed the old me, maybe more of the freedom and the flexibility I had. But most importantly, I missed us just being Tammy and Vlad and not mom and dad for moments. And it took me a while to realize that's the thing that no one prepares you about in marriage, and especially when you're thinking of having kids in your marriage, of missing your partner, missing that spark, missing that flexibility and freedom that you once had. They tell you how to care for the baby, but not how to care for the marriage after. And that's where a lot of couples start to feel a little lost. Now, that intimacy shift, because wow, this one gets a little real. After kids, intimacy just doesn't disappear, but it definitely changes shape. Before kids, it's like you had energy, you had all this time, and honestly, privacy. And then after kids, mama's tired. I'm very tired, okay? I know he's tired too. But I'm also touched out, overstimulated. And because let's keep it real, the idea of being intimate just feels like another thing on my to-do list. It's like another chore. For the moms out there, your body's changed. Your mind is on 100 different tabs. There's like a running checklist constantly going through your mind. And the last thing that you feel is sexy, especially with like a nursing bra on and spit up on the same t-shirt that you've been wearing for the past 3 days. I've been there and I'm still there. There's that newborn no sleep haze that is very real and overwhelming. And I was just trying to survive those first few months. The sleep deprivation is no joke. You're not just taking care of a newborn, you're taking care of a new you. There's that saying that a mom just doesn't give birth to a baby, but she also gives birth to a new version of herself, which is so true. You're trying to learn how to navigate this new being in your life while also adjusting and navigating a new body yourself, the hormones, the physical changes, the bleeding, the nursing. There's liquid and fluid coming out of pretty much every hole in your body, and you're just trying to keep it all together. And then you want me to feel sexy on top of that? I don't know. It was just a lot. There were moments when Vlad would just want to sneak, some mommy and daddy time, some sexy time in. And honestly, I just wasn't feeling it. Like, I had a million of things that I had to do. I just put the baby down for a nap, so my mind is go, go, go. I gotta wash the bottles. I gotta clean up the play area with all the toys. I gotta throw in a load of laundry. I have like an hour to do all these things. And I'm like, which one do I do first? And then you want to pull me away? I don't think so. It was just a lot. And then it just became a routine. Not only did I create like a nap schedule for my babies, but it was like then I created a schedule for myself of when I had to get things done. And I was on a time limit because the baby could wake up at any time. And then there it goes. I wouldn't be able to stand up and wash bottles or sterilize bottle parts or pumping parts. It's because I had to entertain and have a baby on my hip, feed the baby. So I was on a time limit as well as my baby. I had to get the things done in between the nap time. And I just felt like a robot. And there was just no time. I'm sorry. At that moment, I felt like I couldn't squeeze it in. And I felt so guilty. And that was probably not just mom guilt I carried with me, but now it turned into like wife guilt, if that's a thing, that I wasn't doing my part in the marriage. These are my mental thoughts that are happening. Like beating myself up with, like, I'm just not doing my quote unquote duties as a wife because I'm so thrown into being a mom and tending to this baby, essentially. But then there are moments when I'm like spiraling in these thoughts, and then Vlad would just come over and just be like, let me wash the bottles. You go lay down for a second. Or, you go do a shower or move on to another chore. And then it's just like, okay, that was like probably the connection I needed. And then that was the intimacy I guess I was looking for. It went from like that physical to either a touch when he would just come up from behind me and give me a hug, or like those words of affirmation, which are now, you're a great mom, you're doing great, you're a great wife, or I love you. Those are the things that meant more to me than just being physical in this new stage of life of becoming a parent. And that's the connection that I now crave for, that I want. Because I felt like I was neglecting him, and just the reassurance from him saying that is what I needed at that time. This just proves to show that intimacy isn't only physical, it's like emotional. Your partner saying, go take a shower, I got the baby, or a hug in the kitchen after a long day, or a random thank you. That's when I felt seen. Those little things meant more to me than like flowers or candlelight dinners. But I mean, I still love getting flowers, and a date night here and there is cool too. I'm just saying. Because love after babies becomes more about the small gestures that translate to, I still choose you even in the midst of chaos. Now, the physical shifts also come with new roles and new rhythms. Now let's get into the roles that shift. Because if there's one thing parenthood will do, it will force you to renegotiate everything. Who's waking up at night? Who's packing lunches? Who's remembering picture day? Who's managing the emotional load of everyone in this house? And a lot of the times, it's not about who's doing more, it's about who's feeling seen. And in our house, I carried that load, that mental load, all those reminders, the planning. I mean, I'm not taking away from my husband. He's an amazing dad. He's a great hands-on dad. But there are moments, especially early on in our parenthood journey, I would kind of resent him for a little bit. And I don't know if it was him in particular, but probably the freedom and the flexibility that he had. And by default, I mean, there could be a difference of opinion. This is mine. I feel like dads do take that secondary parent role, just because moms, we are the nurturers first, especially with like breastfeeding, the milk comes from the mother and we produce that. So yes, the baby will be attached to the mother a lot of the times. But I had to learn very quickly that it's okay to share this load. Well, I wouldn't say I had to learn quickly. It actually took a while, and the advice from my husband, because he saw I was crashing, to actually seek out therapy. And while speaking through my therapist for a couple of years after my son was first born, she gave some tools and tips and advice that we still use till this day. And my biggest takeaway that I want to share with a lot of those moms out there struggling, you don't have to have it together, and it is okay to ask for help. It is okay to ask for help. It doesn't mean that you're weak, that you can't handle it. It's not a sign of weakness, but you cannot pour from an empty cup. And I had to learn that kind of the hard way, and with my baby as well. I couldn't show up for my child, let alone for my marriage, if I didn't take care of myself first, and then realize by taking care of myself is asking for help. You are already superhuman. You're already a superwoman by birthing this child. No need to show that you could do extra, but dwindle away in the midst of it, if that makes sense. So even though I felt overwhelmed, and that overwhelmness expressed into me picking little random arguments with my husband that had nothing to do with whatever he was doing. It was just probably the resentment of not him, but again, as I said, his freedom and his will to just come home after work and just know everything was done. Dishes are clean, put away, babies are bathed, fed, and asleep, the house is clean, and he didn't have to worry about that load because I already handled it. But I'm sure if I asked him at that time, he would have done it, and he has. So, of course, after seeking therapy with my husband's help, and the tools and the things that my therapist applied was like, make it a schedule. On the days he's off, have him do bath night, which he loves. And my son loves it when his dad gives him a bath or when daddy's doing it, because daddy brings all the toys and all this stuff. But that helped eliminate that stress for me coming home from work on the days where he was off, knowing, okay, my second shift starts, come home, bath, da 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 da, the list goes on. That eliminated that stress for me, and I felt so much lighter. And it doesn't mean that I was lazy and I couldn't do it. I've been doing it before, but it just helped me, and then in turn helped my family, I feel like. And my husband was more than welcome to do it. It's just I had to express it. And he expressed to me, because we've had conversations about this, is that he's not a mind reader. And I had to get used to that, which was also a part of learning how to navigate being newlyweds and newly married. We never lived together before we got married. Very traditional in that sense. And of course, I'll talk about that probably in other episodes. Noted. About our wedding and everything. But we never lived together before we got married. So when we had our son, we were only living together literally for 1 year, 365 days. So we had to navigate living in one space with someone else, let alone someone from the opposite sex, let alone now your wife and your husband, while also navigating being parents, as I said earlier. So I had to learn how to communicate differently with him. In my parents' household, everybody was in everyone's business. That's how we grew up. Like, we were very nosy, and there was little to none of privacy. We always knew what was going on, maybe a little too much. But with him, I felt he was a little reserved. Learning now, living with my husband, he's a little bit more reserved. And I don't think his family growing up, I mean, not to take away, was like that. So I was just used to someone always just kind of automatically picking up or knowing my needs. But I had to realize he wasn't my parent. He didn't raise me. He knows me, but not in that sense to kind of know what I needed before I knew it. And I had to learn how to shift that to know that it's okay to just open my mouth and say those words like, I need help. Can you do this? Still learning it about 6 years later. But when he mentioned that to me, it was like now in my brain, like, okay, if the baby is crying, wake him up. He's still, he says this with our second baby, like, babe, just wake me up if the baby's crying. Or I could bring this. I'm right here. I could get this for you, or whatever it is. He still says that, but there's something in me that's like, no, I'm mom. I could do it. I need to do it. But like, it's okay that I don't. He's their dad. He's my partner. He's my husband. The responsibility is split between the both of us. And I don't know why I didn't see that before, but thank God for therapy and for my therapist to point that out and make that suggestion, because it helped our relationship tremendously, and it helped our parenting tremendously. So that was just one of the takeaways and the tips that I've learned that we've applied into raising our kids that kind of help strengthen our marriage. I hope that all makes sense. I don't know if it was a ramble, but I guess the takeaway from that is to communicate, and that for the moms, take care of yourself, and it's okay to ask for help. because sometimes the healthiest thing that you can do for your marriage after kids is to stop assuming and start communicating again. Now we're gonna talk about bringing back that connection with your partner, because yes, it is possible. It just looks a little different now. That connection could be in a couple different ways. Instead of a glamorous date night where you both dress up to the nine and go to this expensive steakhouse restaurant, maybe it's just crashing out on the couch, turning on Netflix, making a meal together, and enjoying it while you're binging like a new show. That was another thing that we felt was important in our relationship once we figured out our schedule with our son. Again, a lot of my parenting experience is about 5-6 years, because we had to learn fast with our son, and then we just had our second daughter earlier this year in January, so we're now navigating handling two kids, which is fun in its own way. But we started doing like those meal service delivery kits where the box comes in. You could do weekly meals or monthly subscriptions, and they'll give you these recipes where you like step-by-step recipes, ready to made meals. I think were in some of the boxes, and we would just cook together. So once we got a schedule down for our son, put him down for the night. On the nights my husband was either off or not working late, we would make those meals together. And honestly, that was one of the best memories so far in our 6 years of marriage. Just cooking together and following along, joking, like so fun. We were just lighthearted. And for that moment, it was just like it was like going back to when we were dating and like baking cookies in my parents' kitchen or something. But we just like relaxed a little bit. Something about cooking, and especially cooking with someone that you have a connection with, someone that you love, is just like kind of therapeutic. And once our meal was done, we would just sit on the couch, and that's when we watched a lot of our shows. Like we don't really watch TV live, but this is when we were binging like finally Game of Thrones. We caught up on Game of Thrones. We got into House of Dragons. And then I, just roped him into my junky reality TV with Love is Blind and Temptation Island and all those shows, Grey's Anatomy. Like, I would look forward to those nights weekly, knowing like I'm going to come home, the baby would be bathed, I'll just have to put him to bed, and I get to spend time with my best friend. And it was so great. And it is still great. We still continue to do that. Not as frequently now, especially we have two kids, so we are man to man. But there are other things that we do as well. Even now my son is playing sports on the weekend on basketball. So when he's out practicing, like we're sitting on the sidelines, like talking to each other, even though it's like 2 minutes conversations or whatever it is, but we're just talking, joking. He's giving me some basketball stats, and it just felt like it's just refreshing to have conversations outside of the typical parent conversations about diaper changes or school schedules or school lunches. But we just had to know that our date nights or our reconnection kind of looked different. And sometimes you have to schedule those connections. It may sound a little unromantic, but it is necessary. Our weeks are pretty much scheduled, especially now since our oldest is in school. So we have a schedule with that, but we have our daily or weekly connection time where we know, okay, on this day, daddy is doing this, and after, mommy and daddy will hang out for this time. And it kind of helps us a little bit and it gives us something to look forward to for the week. And when we have it scheduled, another thing that we had to do with reconnecting is relearning our partner's love language. My husband's, I think, pretty much stayed the same, but I feel like mine changed a little bit. I felt like his has always been words of affirmation and just communication, while mine was physical touch. I mean, I still think it is a little bit, but there are moments where I feel out touched. That could just be your mom and someone is always touching me. But right now, I feel like my love language are words of affirmation. It just feels good to hear the words like, you're doing a good job, you're a great mom. Or even when my son says that to me, oh, it just melts my heart when he's like, Mommy, you're such a good mom. his little voice, it's the sweetest to just hear that validation, to know that I feel seen and what I'm doing is not in vain. And then also quality time. Maybe my love languages haven't changed, because it was always quality time, and it still is. So I take that back. My love languages hasn't changed, but I guess I want to say it's about reconnecting to finding these love languages again, and it's just about showing up for one another. Because the truth is, you always have to feel in love every single day. You have to choose each other. You have to choose love and give your partner grace. Ooh, parenting really is showing me patience. That's one thing my grandmother always used to say to me was, have patience, especially with my kid, with my son at that time. But it's also with give grace and have patience with my partner, because I was so wrapped up in me, like it's all about the mom. Yes, it is. We just went through a very big life change and moment, not just physically, but emotionally as well. But so did our partner. So did our husband. And there are some times where you kind of forget that too. This is his first time as well, as it is for mine. So even though I'm in the moment and in over my head of making sure I have to get everything done just to feel relaxed before I could connect with him in whichever way that is, I have to give him grace too and realize he's never done a lot of these things before. Neither have I. There is no rule book to parenting. Oh, how I wish. There's no rule book. There's no playbook. It's just off the whim. Whatever advice people tell you about parenting, you won't know until you're in the trenches yourself, because of course every child is different, every household is different. So I have to remember, this is his first time. He's never done this before, and I have to give him grace and patience, as well as compliment him the way he's complimenting me. And I'm learning about this daily, every day, still now, that it's about giving your partner grace, yourself grace, having patience, and just showing up. Because the connection doesn't just happen by accident anymore, it happens with intention. So I just want to end by saying that marriage after babies does not mean this is the end of your love story. This is the evolution. It's evolving. Your love story is evolving. That you have to see each other through the sleepless nights, those growth spurts, the career changes, all that real life stuff. And in that, there's a deeper love that starts to form. I am a hopeless romantic. I'm a Libra. We love love. I used to think that love was just that butterflies and everything was very romantic and airy and easy. But it's not. Marriage is not easy. Now throw in kids on top of that. Oh boy, it's chaos, but it's a beautiful chaos. But I also realized that marriage is about showing up when it's hard. It's about teamwork. It's about partnership. And in those tough moments, laughing through exhaustion could get you through it too, because you're on the same page. There'll be days when you're in sync and everything is going by the book and perfect. And then there'll be days where it's just completely off. But that's normal. The goal in marriage isn't about perfection. The goal in parenting isn't about perfection. It's about partnership. And I'd like to say to anyone who's listening, who feels like the spark may have dimmed a little bit, don't chase who you were. Build who you are now. because this version, the one that's seen life and kids and chaos, is way stronger than before. You just have to keep choosing each other. So, if you're in that season where things feel off balance, know that it's okay. The scales shift, and that's part of it. Parenthood changes you, but it doesn't have to break that connection in your relationship, in your marriage. I want you guys to keep communicating, keep giving grace, keep remembering that before the diapers, before the chaos, it was love that started it all, and keep choosing each other. So I'm ending this episode. That's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. And just remember that the scales may tip, but you're still standing. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Balancing the Scales with Tammy A. Make sure you follow us on all socials at balancingthescales.pod. And don't forget, real life isn't meant to be perfect, but we show up where we can. If this episode hits home for you or know someone who could benefit from listening, please share it, tag a friend or a few, and turn the mic on in your own lives, and let's keep the conversations going. Until next time, fans, and remember, you're doing a great job, and embrace the chaos. See you in the next episode.